What's up guys, Cloudie here, checking in from the America server, and today we're gonna be looking at Estelle, the 100th hero to join 킹스레이드, who was released for the 4th anniversary of the game itself. If you want a TLDR version of her, then basically she's a physical archer who is a sort of unholy amalgamation of Veronica, Annette with a bit of Talisha in there, and maybe the personality of Rehartna. She's pretty strong. Probably the most loaded support character in the game, and with that comes a minor rant from me that if they were gonna release such a powerful character, support character for the 4th anniversary of the game, then maybe it would have been nice to make her so that she benefits both the damage types the same way and isn't tailored more towards physical. I have looked into the comments of her description, and boy oh boy, I haven't seen such toxicity in a long time. Somewhat understandable. There is already a lot of complaints about physical having the upper hand, or magic having the upper hand, quote unquote, you know. And yeah, I think it would have been good if she just gave her, or physical or all her amp would have been just both sides, and the defense reduction was also both sides. But okay, rant over. Let's look at her. As usual, we will check her skills, her talents, and then her unique gears, and then maybe also check in where she can be used and what kind of gear she should be wearing. So let's see what she does. If we go to heroes, she should be already there after the game decides to load up. Okay, so let's look at Estelle, the guide of heroes. So as usual, we start with her skill 4 because that defines how her other skills work. So increases own attack speed by 200, and this goes up by 150 more, so 350. Normal attacks grant 1 stack of accompany, and skill attacks grant 5 stacks. Upon gaining 30 stacks, Estelle consumes all stacks to recover 1 orb of mana of all allies and enter into adventure guide state for 15 seconds. So auto attacks will give her 1, and all skills will give her 5. At 30 she will enter into this adventure guide state. And do note that they do not state here that she doesn't gain stacks while in this adventure guide state. This is actually correct. She does gain the stacks. You can see that if you test her out on a dummy or anything, I did so. Also worth noting that her auto attacks are really slow. You can see I put a cat statue on her just for testing, and even then with like 800 extra attack speed it was like terribly slow. So it's not likely that you can stack this 30 stacks within a reasonable amount of time just with autos, but they do stack per skill use too. So she has 3 skills, 1 bit with a double use, so 20 stacks just from all her skills. Yeah, so technically it's not that hard to keep up her adventure guide, and her unique gears will help with that too. But let's look at all her other skills, so let's see how they work. Blow Tailwind, 3 mana cost, 14-second cooldown. Dispels negative effects from all allies, so this is a 3 mana cleanse. Heals HP and grants Tailwind for 10 seconds. For the duration, you get CC immunity after use changes skill to Blow Headwind. When this is done in adventure guide state, then the duration increases by 5 seconds, and this will be the case for all her other skills, that if you use them within adventure guide, then you get the 5-second extra duration. And if you check her other skill for 2 mana, deals damage to all enemies, inflicts damage, inflicts headwind. The duration of headwind increases physical damage the target takes by 25%, and that's all. So it's just an amp and some damage, not a lot of damage, but some amp coupled with it. Alright, let's see. Here is a wake up call, 3 mana, 20 seconds. So again, very long cooldown, but this is one of her strongest skills. Grants cheer that lasts for 10 seconds to 1 ally, and this will be increased to 15 seconds if you do it in adventure guide. Deals some damage, so this is granted to the highest attacker ally. Deals damage to 1 enemy with the highest attack, and inflicts discouragement on the enemy. For the duration of cheer, increases the target's crit damage by 50%, and discouragement will reduce the target's attack by 30%. That's quite nice. Again, if you cast this during adventure state, then this will have a pretty good uptime, and her unique treasure makes this even better, which will be her best unique treasure, by the way, so we will get to that in a moment. Let's see skill 3. For 10 seconds, increases attack speed of all allies by 200, reduces physical damage they take by 20%, and heals their HP by a certain number every second. So constant healing reduces physical damage taking, that's quite nice, with a bit of attack speed bonus. That's alright-ish. In Adventure Guide state, this is increased by 5 seconds, and the cooldown is 18 seconds. So all of her skills are 14 seconds, 20 seconds, 18 seconds, very long cooldowns, which means it's a bit harder to keep up that Adventure Guide state actually. Alright, so definitely her S2 is the biggest sell point of her, especially with her UT2, which will make this even better. But her amp and CC immunity and healing and damage reduction are also quite nice. And when fully built, she gets even better. So let's see her perks. Kinda related to content, what you will pick, but probably you like this one. Reduces the target's physical defense by 30% for the duration of headwind. So 14 seconds cooldown and 15 seconds uptime if you do this in Adventure Guide state, which means that it can be up all the time. Not every enemy can be death shredded, but where this works, it's quite nice. The other perk is just increases the target's P-block chance by 300, so this is the buff part for you, and the debuff part will be the death reduction. Okay, I managed to pronounce that in the end. Let's see, S2 increases the number of targets for cheer by 1. This could be useful in like Galgoria, where you're running 2 DPS, and upon activation of discouragement, dispels positive effect from the target. So this becomes a dispel, quite a costly dispel. If you check it out, it was like 3 mana cost, but it can be a dispel. So in PvE you usually don't need dispel, but if you look at it now, she has a cleanse and a dispel, and she can also silence if you check out her unique gears. So technically she could be a PvP character, maybe like a Scuff Cane. I'm not quite sure about that yet, but yeah, I mean, she could be. Let's see, unique skill 3 increases melee heroes damage, or the perks 3, sorry. So increases melee heroes damage dealt to non-hero enemies by 15%. And then there is increases ranged heroes damage dealt to non-hero enemies by 15%. So you would pick one of these depending on what you are running. I have left it blank because I'm just like showcasing her perks, but this is definitely something you want to pick up for her. Let's see. Increases mana recovery by 100 for S4, or during normal attacks normal attacks during the Adventure Guide state will also give 20% physical amp. If you are not running her in a physical team, then this could be nice, because whenever she enters Adventure Guide state, she will give you 2 mana instead of 1, because this should give you 1 orb of mana, so this should give you 2 instead. Or you can go for the physical amp. It kind of depends what you're running, whether you need the mana or you need the amp. If you are in a magic comp, then this perk would be kind of nice. And then there is her Dark, increases mana recovery per attack of all allies by 300. This effect is irremovable. So technically, as long as you have your Estelle in your party, she will give 300 mana per attack to everyone, which is quite nice. It really helps, especially in fights like Escalon. Some of my friends have already tested her there, and she makes it so much easier. And then of course you can look into perks like Eagle Eye. If you are not running Death Ignore heroes, then this could be nice. Or you can pick Mortal Wound for Galgoria if you need that. There are choices to be had, really. It kind of depends what you are running and what you need. This can be also really good for Galgoria. You would pick one of these depending on what type of heroes you have. So definitely she's a very well-rounded character with good options to choose from. Alright, so yeah, this would be my take, and you can probably skip her tier 1 perks. She won't be really doing damage. That doesn't seem to be her niche here. She's really tailored to be a support character. Let's check unique gears, because that's also quite interesting. Why am I going to inventory? Index, because that starts with an I2. So unique gears, unique weapon, so I don't have per UV yet. So increases the duration of Adventure Guide by 1 second, and attack of all allies by 10% while Estelle is in adventure state. And then if you start this up, it increases her adventure guide state by 6 seconds and the attack of all allies by 25%. So if you want to maintain her adventure guide buffs, then this one is definitely really helpful. Plus a 25% attack buff is not a small number. That's that's actually 2 TM lines if you don't have max roll. So yeah, that's a lot actually. And at max with a max roll or a max UV, then maintaining that adventure guide will be a lot easier. So definitely she's the kind of character that will need investment, and we're gonna see that in her unique treasures too. So let's go to archers, and this is her unique treasures 3. So increases heal rate and effects become irremovable. So this gives attack speed and healing. So probably not the most useful unique treasure, I think. This doesn't look terribly interesting for her. Now if we check the next one, however, so this is her unique S2, reduces cooldown by 6 seconds. So this goes down now from 20 seconds to 14 seconds, and cheer additionally increases damage dealt to bosses by 6%. Yep. Non-hero damage, boss damage. Yeah, and this goes up all the way to 15%. So I think for PvE this is hands down the best unique treasure you can have. 15% boss damage is nothing to scoff at, and the uptime of her buff becomes so much better. That means that if you cast it in adventure guide state, then technically it has like no downtime at all, unless she's like delayed with casts or something. But yeah, this unique treasure is just really so good. I think there is no questions asked here which one you should choose if you want her to be a PvE support. And then there is her unique treasure 1, reduces mana cost and increases all the chance of all allies, and this goes up to 250, and silences the hit targets for 3 seconds and reduces the target's damage dealt to heroes. So damage reduction, dodge chance, and a bit of mana cost with the silence. So curious, this part looks like PvP, and this could be also PvP. I mean, in PvE you usually don't need damage reduction and also dodge chance. So this kind of looks PvP to me. I don't think you really need this anywhere in PvE unless you go to a fight that specifically requires you to dodge, like Lacrael in Guild Conquest. But I think the boss damage for PvE is just really hard to pass on. So definitely would say go for UT2. And the final one, adventure guide, becomes irremovable. So essentially it is dispellable. Normal attacks have a 20 to 50% chance of reducing the target's mana by 400 for the duration of skill. This effect is activated only once every 3 seconds. So if you are fighting something like Shakmei or say Siegfried and you need the extra mana reduction, then maybe, but again, PvE, there are other sources of mana reduction, and extra boss damage is just very hard to pass on. So yeah, that's attack buff, non-hero damage buff, speed buff, crit damage buff, attack down, boss damage buff, did I miss anything? And some physical damage buff and some physical damage reduction and some mana regeneration. So yeah, that's all in her kit. I do not have her soul weapon yet, so I'm gonna cheat and use the post by Vespa. So let's see, soul weapon activation condition charges up upon using skills 4 times, so that's pretty easy to do. Summons the soul for 10 seconds, healing HP of all allies every second, increasing attack speed of the ally with the highest attack by 150, and increasing physical damage all enemies take by 15%. At advancement phase 1, this attack boost changes, the speed boost changes to 250 and the physical damage boost to 25%, so that's not terribly big. And then at advancement phase 2, increases damage dealt to bosses of the ally with the highest attack by 15% for the duration of the skill. So that means that if she is a 2 and has this at 2-star, then she provides 30% boss damage. And then all the other stuff that she also does. and I've just listed all the other things she does. So boy oh boy, she really is loaded. That's the best word for it. She's just loaded. I think hands down power creeps Annette in any content anywhere. So even if you are a Magic team, you will probably run Estelle over Annette. Yes, you do lose on Annette's amplification, but other than that, you just gain so much other stuff that she just can't compare anymore. So good thing that she just received her League of Honor costume. Yeah. So that's Estelle for you guys. Super loaded. I'm not quite sure how she will perform on auto mode. That's one question I have right now in like world boss fights, whether she will be able, because the duration of her unique weapon is not too long, and also you kind of want to time her S2 to be in up when you are doing those burst phases during the boss fights. Which an auto might be tricky. You could probably hope that with like an odd reset just before or during the fight you will get the buff, but it's kind of RNG, so which means that you probably would want her on your manual team, and that's also become problematic, because for the most cases you want like Veronica and Oddie on your main team plus your DPS, and usually the last spot was Priscilla for the resets on your skills. And now you cannot have, at least you can't have Pris anymore, I guess, because you wouldn't, or you could try putting Veronica, but that means you have to mess around with Veru's mana so she doesn't use her skills at the wrong time. So yeah, I think you would end up with Priscilla being cast into the auto team, and obviously Annette is being removed. Who knows, with this change it might be that physical teams will be dropping their tanks now as well. It's not just Magic who runs with like Oddie tanks. It might happen that you no longer use Lowman at all and either go with a Priscilla tank or with like Oddie in some cases. So yeah, this is hero number 100, guys. Definitely very OP. She does look cute, especially if you look at her. Can we actually look in the special shop under the summon part? Can we see the costume? I'm not quite sure if they should. Yeah, they do show it. But the costume itself is quite nice too. Cheerleader with cat ears hat. She does look quite pretty. Some people don't like her animations because she's very jumpy and very hyper, so may not like her that much. I think she's pretty. She's cute and definitely super loaded. So yeah, that's been my take on her, guys. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And as always, this has been Cloudie. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.